Hello, hello, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening out there, all of you lovely people. All right, everybody, here's the thing. I'm starting the stream early because I have been up since the crack of dawn, and I've got a bunch of things I want to get done today. So, before I do, I wanted to tackle a problem that's been bothering me since I logged off last night because I'm anal about my games. And that problem is our trash management. If you take a look around the city right now, you see numerous buildings with garbage piling up, garbage piling up, garbage piling up. There are two concerns with this. Number one is, well, three concerns, I think. Number one is that while our trash is being managed by outside connections, our outside connection is unfortunately very, very, very far away. So by the time these buildings say, hey, we need trash, oh, hey, we don't have trash, hey, let's query the game world for a trash pickup, it builds up. And unfortunately, you notice that it's all in these larger buildings, these like 3 out of 5 levels, these buildings with like 472 residents. So, decent sized mid density residential and stuff. Um, as trash piles up in here, it's going to make our residents sicker. They're not going to want to stay. It's going to inhibit our building growth. It's basically just going to be bad for our city. And then as trash piles up in these, as they're calling for help, eventually our service buildings are going to also start having trash piling up, like our school or our high school. And when that happens, we're going to have a much bigger problem because it will decrease the efficiency of those buildings. Now, here is where my personal problem is. Normally, I would not build a landfill. I don't like them. They generate pollution. They look ugly. They're not something that I like to use in almost any circumstance. So I almost never do. Normally, I would go for a recycling center or ideally an incineration plant. Incineration plants, you only need about one of them, even in a very large city, sometimes two, depending on how big you end up getting. Recycling centers, these will be placing rarely throughout the whole city. And eventually we'll get an industrial waste processing site, but that's neither here nor there. However, these require two things. First, another node, and then almost $1 million. At the moment, we're only sitting on 125, and while we'll get a small injection of cash soon, it's not going to be enough to do this. And while I usually do take out loans, I'm also concerned about the upkeep of 80,000 a month or 105,000. We'll make some of that back with the recycling center because as we recycle our trash, it's going to generate a profit for us, but not enough to offset that upkeep cost. So, what's my choice? My only real choice on this is to go ahead, is to break down, is to build a landfill. So, I'm going to be honest with you. We have a couple of considerations to make here. Anywhere we put it is going to have some long term land pollution even after we get rid of it because we will be getting rid of it. Once we get our recycling centers up, we're going to flag this thing to empty and then we're going to bulldoze it. But that's not for several hours left of gameplay. So, what do we do? Well, it is, since it generates pollution, we can say it's almost an industrial building. For aesthetic purposes, nobody's going to like driving into a city and seeing a landfill. You can actually do that in my city in one spot in real life. But again, we don't have a lot of tiles unlocked. We do have one option though, and that's to stick it all the way out here, but that sort of defeats the purpose of having trash pickup be a little closer. So let's just go ahead, bite the bullet, zone out this 2-lane road just a little bit. Right up here. Keep our grid going. And then we'll set this landfill up here facing that 2-lane road right in here. Now, there is one more problem. You notice that it says it's overlapping items and it's overlapping with these power poles. This will become a recurring issue for us because I like to build fairly dense in my cities. And while I am doing that, we'll be running a lot of lines underground. That's just a better use for them. makes up better space. It's not as realistic as I would like, but for right now, we're going to have to deal. So we delete them. We make sure the game is on pause, otherwise we have a whole different set of problems. We go into our underground mode, use the power line, the big power line, not the electric cables. There are differences. Drag it over here to this one that's still standing, and plug it in. We could even go ahead and delete this one and have it connect underground to the transformer station, but I'm not going to. I just like the aesthetics of it sitting right there. All right, we do have $122,000, which gives us just enough to go ahead and build this landfill. We're going to set it up over as close to the main road as we can get it. Might even give us a level. We'll see. Nope. All right. And now, just like the specialized industry buildings, this does give us the opportunity to create well, not a district. It's not what we want. This gives us the opportunity to, well, should give us the opportunity. Do not tell me. Okay. There we go. Area tool. To expand this out to increase the storage capacity. The basic storage capacity is next to none, and that's not a 90-degree angle. Let's straighten that up. There we go. Okay, 180, bring it down to 90. We're going to square it off as much as we can to right about there, so we're not using up road space. And we'll go ahead and make it out the length of this road. You'll see that I am limited in this within that ugly brown circle. So you can see what an eyesore this is just right off, and trust me guys, it's only going to get worse. This building does come up with a couple of additional things we can attach to it. The hazardous waste collection point, which is basically going to just increase the processing speed of this facility, which we're not going to worry about, and the garbage truck depot, which will increase our total number of garbage trucks. At the moment, we get 20. This will bring it up to 30. I'm not going to bother with these because I think it'll be a waste of time. And finally, the waste recycling unit will reduce to overall pollution generated by the site. It's slightly more expensive than the money we have in our bank at the moment. So am I going to bother? Probably not. With the amount of ground pollution this is going to make, though, it's very likely that when we delete this, we'll be putting a recycling plant right over here instead, just so you know. Or we'll put a specialized industry thing like a giant factory, or much as I hate to do it, like a stone mine or something like that, just for looks. And speaking of just for looks, I genuinely, and I do mean genuinely, hate how these looks. So we're going to take our pavement path, bring our elevation steps down to 2. I think 2 should be fine. No, we're going to bring it down to the lowest elevation. And, okay, 5 units is too high. 3 is just right. We're going to start over here. Not going to let us. We're going to have to click off snapping, but we will put on 90 degrees. I'm just going to take this little walking path and do my best to stretch it all the way up there. Then now we're going to snap the geometry to get it to connect to that end right there. Drag it all the way down, go a little bit beyond the edge, just for lineup purposes. No, that's not edge enough. And bring it up here. Now, you notice that this walking path isn't actually connected to anything. This is just going to sit here, and it's going to sit here because I hate the look of this. That's it. And we're going to do our best to build it up here as well. Follow the length of this landfill. Although, if we wanted to get spiffy, we could, let's see. Unfortunately, it takes, was it 6.5? A minimum of 6.5 units to build a bridge over a road with a walking path, which is higher than what we get for a concrete wall. But Now, if we want to, and we might later, we can actually drop this down, have this be a functioning path for people coming up and over. In fact, truthfully, we probably will, because I hate having things that don't have an actual function in the city. Okay, I got a message on my phone I gotta answer. Okay, well, let me. Sending mushy texts to your girlfriend on a snow day. Gotta love doing it. Okay. No, literally, you gotta love doing it. I do love doing it. All right, now that we have this up, again, this is going to have an operating cost. It's going to decrease the amount of income we have coming through. We'll have to make that up. Every service building does. It's just the way the game works. But at the same time, it is going to increase our citizens' overall happiness because prior to this, they were complaining about poor garbage services. Now that we have this down, all we have to do is turn on the speed and sit back and watch for a second. Because all of these garbage trucks now are going to start pulling out of their parking lot, getting on the road. One's out. Next one should be leaving imminently, I would assume. Yep, there it goes. And these will drive through the city, slowly collecting trash. I don't think we actually see people getting in and out of the vehicle. I'm pretty sure that just operates on a I drive past, I pick up garbage, and you can see he's already picked up 4 tons of stuff just passing by these businesses. So that tells you that this city has been generating a disgusting ton of garbage. We will have to keep a close watch on this because as it stands right now, this can only hold 738 tons. Each of these trucks can carry 20 tons. Do the math. That's not a lot of garbage, or not a lot of room. Okay. But now that that's done, we can't do anything more about it. These guys will be happier. Some of them are complaining about small homes. This is a long-standing issue. Um, and in a way, it makes sense. Because if you were living in an apartment, a rental apartment, a low-density, place like this, you can see these small rooms from here. They're tiny. You have a general idea what the size of a typical apartment room is. Well, people don't like that. These people want to own their own houses in places like these. They want to have small residential houses. That's sort of the American dream, I think, and probably the dream of other countries. How do we get from point A to point B? Well, here's my conundrum. I don't want them to move. I want them to stay in the buildings. And the game gets sort of iffy because it's like, well, you have all this small residential demand, but just because you build small residential demand doesn't mean, or small residential zones doesn't mean that people are going to move out. It just means that more people are going to move in. It's a catch-22. So expect to see that small homes thing there forever. Plus, as we develop, we'll be developing higher density apartment complexes and other things of that nature that are going to continue the small houses problem, but they're going to pack more people in a smaller space, taller spaces too, which is what I want because the game is called Cities Skylines, not Cities BFE. Well, we'll leave that there. Okay. So, how do we want to make our next development setup? I want to avoid developing anything coming through here, through here, through here, in this square, and probably this square too. I do have a good reason for that. I think you guys will like it when it happens. I also don't want to develop anything on this particular elm lane over here. But that's going to limit us because now it forces our brand new residential that we're planning all the way down in here. But we know what our limits are. We know how to make the most of them. And we're going to make the most of them. When we developed this yesterday, we started with, well, we finished anyways, with single lane parking. Was it single? 2 lane? No, that's 4 lane because it's peeling into the giant medical clinic. All right. We're going to extend this all the way down to the city edge. We're going to take a good look at our other roads. This is 4 lane. This is our 8 lane mega connector. We'll go ahead and run our 8 lane down. And that would be the 8-lane divided road. Keep our 90s, keep our grid safe. If you look right there, we have an intersection that for right now is okay, but for the future will not be. Again, do another. We're not going to use the very large, we are going to use the large concrete roundabout because that's only a 2-lane, not a 6. Okay. Like, I do hate putting a roundabout everywhere. I hate driving in roundabouts in real life, but hey, what do? We want to make sure that this is as organized as possible. Okay. So, we're trying to save ourselves future headaches, future traffic congestion, all that other fun stuff, and it doesn't hurt to pre-develop out our city a little bit. And more messages. Let me answer them while I sit down here. One thing to note, this stream for the next, I don't know, half an hour, 45 minutes or so, is going to be a little slower pace than usual. I apologize if I go a little quiet. Here's the truth. I woke up with a migraine. I'm doing this because the next thing I have to do is work on my business website, and I don't want to. Um, Plus, we need money. We need our city to level, and this is a simulation. This is not a do it now, and I'm not running with unlimited money or buildings unlocked. So we take this as it happens, and we work with it. Okay, one thing I do want to go ahead and zone right here. We're going to put small little offices right next to this medical clinic. Why? Because you would expect to see small little offices, I would presume, next to a medical clinic. So we got to shrink our pathways down to correctly abuse this feature. So let's get these offices facing the direction we want them to face. Same over here. Okay. And we're just going to put a couple of small little office complexes right over here. We'll be happy with that. Now here's what I'm doing. I am putting offices right there. As soon as I start to see them develop, I'm going to come over, delete this path, zone this square for office, delete whatever develops in the square, and hopefully have it fill up. And then in the back end of this, we are going to go ahead and place a little bit of small, low-density commercial right in here just to fill this in. And see, exactly that's what we're doing. We're dropping that, filling, coming back, deleting that so that it fills up that last unit of space. And then we're good. And we just got to wait for that office to develop. Okay. So let's go ahead and take a second and look at our parks. Because we've got this medical clinic here, and I don't know about you guys, but sometimes it's nice after I have a doctor's appointment, I'm just like, wow, I don't give a about life anymore. My doctor's appointments don't go well. I'm overweight. And like in poor health. So let's slip in a small park right over here. I think a small park. Honestly, what would really make me happy over here would be a small plaza. I think a small plaza would be great, but it doesn't quite fit. So there's one way to fix that. We are going to come over here, take our alley tool, disable snapping. We're going to scoot it about half a unit over. We're going to do the same thing right here. And we'll go back to our parks. We'll see, is that enough? It looks like it is, but this is also being a pain. So we're going to right mouse button, spin it a little bit, place it manually without snapping, and done. We're good. So we now have a medical clinic, a park right behind it, and so anybody who comes out of the doctor's appointment feeling like they now need to walk in a park every day, they have a park right there to walk around. Okay, and we're going to get rid of all of these unnecessary pedestrian crossings. leave one right there. I think that's fair. Okay. And we still got, and this also faces directly that farm, so I think we're pretty good. Don't you guys? You guys think we're good? Okay. So all of these things are developing. We got people moving in. No. Okay. Huh. Apparently you get disconnected for chat if you don't have the Twitch chat open on your phone. Good to know. Okay. Now we've done all that. We do need to build some buildings. Right here is going to be a little touchy because of the developments we're going to put in. And there we go. Milestone 7, busy town, new development points, more cash, 175. Will not complain. Okay, let's extend this gravel drive right here because we're using this as a planning road. Pop over to busy town, see what we got. Again, we don't need anything over in traffic. I'm not overly worried about the water treatment plant yet. And I'm not, because while this sewage pipe is producing pollution, it's not a ton right now. We're going to have to live and deal. Our trash collection is slowly working. As you can see, it's starting to pile up over here, including these weird graphical glitches. Either that or they have found the biggest fences ever. Not sure which. But look, we've already halfway filled up our storage garbage total. You see why I said that's going to be a problem in a hurry? I meant it. Okay, let's go over. So wastewater treatment we can skip, hospital we can skip, our new medical plant's doing that. Of the two, the incinerator plant would actually be a lot better for us, I think, than the recycling center. It's going to be a lot more expensive. I would love to invest in a university, but we still haven't built a college yet because of pricing. After yesterday, I'm very much tempted to get a fire station, but I think those also cost a fairly significant amount of money, don't they? Fire station, yeah, 2.5 million, which is a good investment, but for us, where we're at right now, it's not going to be the investment that's going to work for us. So once again, whoops, wrong button. Let's scroll. Transit, we don't need tram or water yet. I want these large sports parks. So we're going to jump them. We're going to ignore everything that's in communication for right now because we could use this telecom tower, but it's not the most important thing. What's going to be the most important, I think, will be our incinerator plant. Even though it costs more, even though we're about to take out a huge loan, it's going to be generating electricity for our town, and that's going to make a difference because right now, if you go under services, we are making $42,000 off of what the power company is being taxed by us. But we're losing $231,000 a month on our electric bill. So once we stop importing, we will be better off. Now, downside, the incinerator plant, while it will incinerate our garbage, once it runs out of garbage, it's not going to produce as much. So we're going to be kind of hit and miss here. We are going to save first before we build a blessed thing. Resume. Go back to our development tree. Go to incinerator plants. Going to unlock it. I'm going to go to milestones. Okay, we don't need achievements. One thing I do want to do before we build this, though, is to go over to not this screen. Okay, transportation overview, city statistics, underground mode, don't need. Right over here to our city information. We're going to go take a look at what we have under city policies. So let's give a quick look. Doing this will turn on advanced pollution management, but produces more garbage. Right now, bad, good soon. Okay? Now, technically, I've been wrong because I thought our garbage was being handled by outside town stuff, and I guess it hasn't because we haven't turned on import city services. Used to be this was auto default on, and that was where my mindset was. So I apologize for giving you bad information. But if I turn this on, we will start importing police, healthcare, death care, garbage management, fire, and rescue. We could turn on this, and it would help solve our garbage problem, but it will come with an expense, and it won't make us income in the long term. And no, I'm good. Okay, and this one, pre-release programs. Prisoners are enrolled in education programs before they're released from prison. It reduces the likelihood of them committing crimes again. There's no real negative to that, so I'm going to flip it on. We don't have city promotion unlocked yet, which we'll want, and high-speed highways is sort of iffy. Okay, so we've made our choice. We've decided we want the incineration plant. Big downside with incineration plant, it will generate a buttload of pollution. We're going to do this in two ways. Two different things to make this happen. First, we're not going to stick it over here because, well, you know what? We will be sticking it right over here. There's no reason not to. While it is going to generate pollution, while it is going to push the pollution up towards this direction, it's not going to be much worse than the landfill in the long term. And honestly, the air pollution will end by the time it gets pushed up here, I think. In the future, much later in the city, we'll just pick the whole thing up and move it because we can do that. It's expensive, but by the time we get ready to do that, we'll have some more money. So we do need to stretch out our road 90 degree. And you see why I'm concerned about this being a problem. Look, our landfill is already at max at 218 out of 738 units. Its processing speed is fast enough, but it can only bury so much stuff at a time. All right, pausing, deleting this. Now, in order to get this, we needed how much money? $1 million flat. So, and that's not honestly correct. Oh, one thing, we could, as I mentioned before, buy a tile over here and set this down. It will keep all the pollution way outside the city. But if we do that, it will slow down our garbage collection. Is this a valid option? Yeah, it is. What's another valid option? Well, I am planning on putting in a power plant over here that's going to use up a lot of our water resources. And it's not going to matter if our groundwater gets contaminated. But the closest for that is here or up here or down here. And this is a no-go. We're going to have way too much residential in this area for me to want to put it down here. Would be closer, would be easier if we had our geothermal plant down here when we eventually get it. But let's look at the air pollution map really quick. So where does the wind blow? The wind is going to take all of our pollution up and run it right over here. I live in West Virginia. I live in a place called Chemical Valley. That is cruel, that is disgusting, and I'm not going to do it. Unfortunately, we don't have any conveniently placed... Well, I don't want to climb up this mountain just yet because I haven't decided what all is going up here. This would be another valid place for our geothermal plant. I'm not going to lie to you. I was initially looking at placing it over here, but we'll have to remap the entire highway and rail system, I think, to get it to be, solid with the groundwater usage. But we're kind of running out of options. We don't have as much groundwater here as I would like. And I'm trying to plan these two different things together without having them both unlocked. So, option one is our incinerator plant right here, dead center in the city, and it's going to blow pollution, air pollution, all the way up here, and it's going to create a lot of it. And I feel like that would be bad and toxic and terrible for everybody involved. We can set it over here, which is going to decrease the speed at which it runs, because it's just going to take a long time for garbage trucks to get from point A to point B. It'll probably take about, I don't know, 6 hours-ish game time. And that's not going to be helpful for our city. We'll start having garbage issues. But down here in this heavy water area, we can set it. If we set it right over here, while it will generate air pollution, I think we can manage it. And then we can have our incinerator plant here and our hydroelectric plant over here. So, but in order to do that, we will have to unlock 3 different tiles, and that alone is going to be $274,000. I think for right now, until we can generate significant profit, our best, because once we start generating significant profit, we'll be able to take advantage of building up on that. What I think our truly best option is to go ahead and place our incineration plant right here, and then later when we buy this, when we get our geothermal plant, we'll move it down and we'll just deal with some of the lingering pollution after effects. Sometimes there are no good choices when it comes to building a city, either in real life or in a simulation, and you make the most of what you can. So making the most of what we can right now is going to require us coming over here, going to loans, and taking a loan of $1 million. Now, this is going to make us spend money on our loan interest, and is going to decrease how much we make an hour. Right now, we're making about 15, but let's see what it does for our power consumption. We may end up coming out ahead. I don't know until we do this, and we've already saved the gains, so let's find out. Now, how do we repay loans? The loans will, if I understand correctly, pay themselves off over time. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to pay them off as we possibly can to decrease our interest rate, decrease our monthly cost, and speed up how fast we get our income going back in the positive. Because, yeah, I don't want to do all that. I don't want to live with that. All right, we got the money. And by the way, this isn't the last loan we're taking. We're going to be investing in ourselves in a lot of ways with this. So let's go ahead, set it down. That's a good solid chunk of experience at least. And here's where we start getting some fun stuff, because now we can connect this to that, electric to electric. This is going to go off to our transformer station, power our city. Now all that's left to do is speed up the game, see what happens. And while that does, I'm going to eat a cookie. Oh, first thing that happened was we apparently are not generating enough water. Why are we not generating water? Because water facility overload, that plant just ate up our water production. All right, so we can do this 2 ways. Let's pause, take a look. And part of this is because it's running at a 56% efficiency. It hasn't been getting trash pickup. That's a problem. All right. This extra pump requires surface water, and it'll increase our water output by 50,000. What's our water consumption right now? I don't know. And the game's not being willing to tell me. Water availability, we're consuming 65. We've got an output of 57. If we just go ahead and invest in this upgrade, that should take care of it. And as soon as trash gets picked up here, we'll be better off. And I'm kind of wondering if it's not so slow because of the road, because I would have assumed it would have been picked up right now. Let me upgrade this gravel road for production sakes. Can't wait till we get rid of it. Turn on our snap to geometry so I'm not moving it around, making it wiggle. Okay, our water needs filled. Just a matter of getting the trash pickup done. It is connected to a road, so I know that there is a roadside connection here. I just don't know why the trash hasn't been snagged out of it yet. We'll extend that road a little bit, see if it makes a difference. Okay. Now, this is working. You can see how many trucks it is sending out. This also has upgrades. We can put in an extra incinerator furnace. which is going to increase our electricity production. Garbage truck depot, which will give us an additional 25 trucks. Right now, 21 of 50 trucks are running, so we're good. And a storage extension to increase the amount of trash being burned. Over here, though, we're full. We're completely full. We've got one vehicle in use, so we're going to flag this from to start emptying. Garbage stored in the building will be transported to other available garbage facilities. Instead of just deleting this, which I can do because the game is going to let me, I'm going to empty it and have this garbage sent over to this facility. As soon as that kicks in, we'll start seeing some goodness out of this. You notice, though, electricity production right now is 0%, usage 0%. Why? There's no trash in it yet. So, what do? We wait. We'll be coming back to this in a few minutes. Right now, yeah, that dropped us down to only about earning $2,000 an hour. That's not enough to make any of our planned advancements at all. None of them. What do? Well, the only thing we can do, we wait. Look, this minivan parks on the side of the road instead of parking in the parking lot right there. Yeah. Okay, now I'm eating my cookie. And we wait. Sorry for the munching. I haven't had breakfast. The other thing we do is glare at that tornado and pray it stays down that direction. All right. So, what are we seeing right now? First, slowly this is being emptied. Second, this is happily working. It is churning through garbage. It's already accumulated 32 tons, but you notice it's slowly going down. It's using 100% of its available energy output. It is producing 5.26 megawatts. It's employing 60 people. And we're slowly starting to get an increase on our cash flow. I'm going to bump the speed up to maximum so you guys can see. I think at max, that better stay down. Okay. I believe at max, let's take a look over here under garbage. So at max, this can produce up to 40 megawatts at the highest voltage possible. Garbage processing status now, though, can process up to 3,400 tons per month. Our landfill availability is slowly increasing as this empties out. And as much as I would love to invest in this, take an extra loan, the loan cost will eat us up, and we don't really need it right now. We might soon, but at the moment, we don't. We're not capping out on our garbage truck usage or need storage extension right now. So far, so good. This isn't going to take a lot of upgrades. And thankfully, When it does, the only thing that's going to increase its footprint will be the storage extension. Now, of course, the downside being, as you can see, we do have air pollution generating, and it's going to get worse as time goes by. Can't do anything about it. That's just life. All right, taking another minute, letting this work. And hey, look, all of our garbage icons have gone away. It solves our trash problem. There's one more thing we have to look at too, but I'm going to give that a minute. And I do know today's stream's a little more boring than others. There's not a whole lot I can do about that. Not everything about Cities Skylines 2 is excitement and super building. Sometimes it's about number crunching. All right, you notice our hourly trend on income is going up though? That is likely because if we go over to services and electricity, hey, look, our import fee has dropped by 100,000. This is a good thing. Our maintenance has gone up. I can't do anything about that. But our import gone down tremendously. Now, I wonder what is our power usage right now? We're only producing, according to this, 10 megawatts an hour. So we're importing another 12 megawatts. So call that what? 10,000 per megawatt? That's pretty steep. And it does sort of move up the speed at which we want to solve some of our problems. But our current problem is our loan. And we've got 2 ways to fix that right this moment. We can, okay, we are on max speed. So this is slowly emptying. It's got enough garbage to keep this thing busy. And this may also be gathering garbage at the same time. Actually, not 100% sure. All right. This will slowly increase, but not increase fast enough. Eventually, some of those costs are going to get offset as the game wakes up. Something we can finally do, now that we invested in large sports parks, is to spend the $56,000 to set in the sports field. And we've been anxiously looking forward to this, or at least I have. I don't know about you guys, I have. All right, here's the thing. This can be set anywhere we want it within this blue radius, so it can go on either side of the road or stand alone out here. The only problem is I can't remember exactly which way it's supposed to face. So first thing we do is we push it up against the road to see where it's going to set. Now, let's, okay, yeah, and so that thinner stand goes facing the road. Okay. So we can stick this in a couple of different locations. If we slide it right over here behind the high school, that really would make a lot of sense. We'd be, you know, just walking down or driving down this major road. If we sort of nudge this around, if we turn off road snapping so I can see, it's going to try to snap to the building right there. That's actually, I think, this is more, well, it's going to take up, I said, yeah, take off, snap to building too. Okay, if I set this right here, although I'll have to turn it around, the only road it's going to connect to without being a problem would be that gravel driveway right there. And nobody's really going to want to walk down that. It's not next to our residential. It's not next to our developing residential or anything along those lines. So let's just go ahead. We'll slip it behind the high school. After, one more thing. You see, this is a track and field football style outdoor gym. Well, let's take a look at some of our other new parks as well, because we have unlocked a soccer field, which would fit right up over here, and then we could drop the gym right behind it. American football field comes with a field, or a community pool. Fun fact, one of my community pools in my immediate area is actually right beside my one of my junior high schools. It's kind of nice, kind of not. It was nice as a kid, not so nice now. And then of course we also have our outdoor gym, which takes up a whopping 2 squares, and our skate park, which, as cool as I think that is not really gonna, like, I would, consider putting it next to a high school. Um, but I don't think the people who make decisions would. So, another park idea we could put in over here, our Passage Park will. We do not have enough space for two of those side by side. Community City Park would look really nice over here, but it's too big for this particular area. Same thing with the Grand City Plaza. This takes up almost as much space as that city park does, as that track and sports field does. So a large playground would work, but it's next to a high school. Um, I'm all in favor of kids playing, but I think there's like, yeah, I don't think that'll work too well. What would work particularly great right here, though, is one thing I didn't consider till just now. We are going to look at some of our parking lots. Our solar power covered parking lot. We could run a series of them right over here. Our medium parking lot. Our long parking lot goes in the wrong direction. Our wide parking lot would be a decent fit. Okay, those are all parking structures. Large parking lots getting there. Very large parking lot. I think I like the idea of dropping the very large parking lot right here, although it is pretty expensive at $80,000, just to improve the parking situation for all these whining people up through here, because they are whining people. Then we come over here and we wonder why that's not wanting to fit right there. What's up with that? It says it's overlapping with that street, and I don't see how. Alright, well, easy way to fix that. We delete that street. And we come over. And we select this. I'm going to drop this down. Well, no, I'm not going to drop it down right now. I'm going to come over. I'm going to go to single lane roads. We're going to get a small pedestrian street. We're going to connect right there. Right there. In case you're wondering why this is marked one way, service vehicles will come down this, and they need a way out of it. That's just all there is to for that. Then we'll come over, and for reasons unknown, because yeah, where does this mesh again? Yeah, the long side's supposed to mesh with the road, but it's trying to get the long side to mesh with the school. Okay, we'll take off snap to building. Then we set it. Then we come over. We come back to our 6-lane road. Bring it back down. Connected. We've spent a lot of money. But we finally have this development done. And we've got a little bit of space right here for some ground deco. Or maybe, instead of ground deco, do we have enough to actually extend this? No, not enough. Okay. Well, we don't need a path here because these are all themselves walking streets. So, I don't know what would look good here. Like, I hate to default to just some basic vegetation, but sometimes basic vegetation is the basic vegetation. The other options we would have would be something like, and so we could put hedges, but hedges around a football field, I don't see a need for it. Same thing with walls, and the way that they set up the walls with the new line tool, there's going to be space between them no matter what you do. It's very frustrating. And guys, I don't feel like sitting down and trying to get all these spaces right. So we're not. We could use our surface tool to extend Kent Street so at least visually it looks like it's pressed up against there. But I don't want to use up the green grass for that. We could set like a gazebo or something over here behind the school, like study areas. Well, technically it would be behind the parking lot. Nobody's going to want to have a study area beside a parking lot. I think that would defeat the purpose. Vegetation right here, I think would be pretty good. We want to have some decent sized trees. We're going to come over, we're going to select big trees. Uh, or adult trees, I should say. We'll stretch that out right there. So now if you're in the park, if you're in the stands, you look over, you're not seeing somebody's Audi or, you know, souped up super smoker 4x4. Um, yeah, I can live with that. All right. And this pedestrian path here is going to let this neighborhood connect up, have a little shortcut. Plus, let's see, nobody from the parking lot is going to be able to walk off that though. Oh well, they'll live. Okay, and it just looks good aesthetically. All right, but now we still have all of this extra space over here, and the question is, what are we going to do about it? When the other expansions for this building stay within the same footprint, and we do need to use one of these because this extension wing, how even though it costs 130, is going to increase our student capacity and our high school is starting to get filled up. All right, now the good news is we have all of this extra space we can develop. I live next to a school, like it's on the same block as my house, so it's not uncommon to see, residential areas right around a high school environment. Uh, and that's really what we're going to do. Although at the same time, just for walkability, we're going to use our large walking path. Drag it over. Then we're going to come up to our small pedestrian street. Run it right beside there. Come over. We're going to delete that pedestrian path right there because they can walk up over there. We're also going to continue it over here. And then we're going to reverse the polarity on this path. Before we do that, we need to turn on our snap to zoning because I don't want that path to inadvertently move if my mouse slips. Okay, so now utility trucks, the delivery trucks, whatever, they can come down Grove Street, and if they've got a delivery to make in this area, they can just cut right across in that direction. And that's pretty good, and it keeps it still on the main dragish. Okay, so far, so good. So let's take a look at actually developing this residential area. We're going to go ahead and fill in some low density. We're going to keep it on this road, so same trick as usual. Force it, fill it, delete it, fill it, delete it, let it expand, fill up the space. Done. Light residential now filled in. Okay, same trick up here. Oh, too close. Now up here we're going to do row houses because we are facing the farms. And it feels, well, it's not going to let me stretch that right there. Okay, that's fine. Right here we're going to go ahead and, like I said, do our row houses, medium density row housing, North America style. Slip it in right there since we are facing that farm, and just want to give it some, space continuity. We are going to come down though, we're going to make sure we get our positioning right. So 90 degrees right through here because I want to take advantage of this open space. Again, more row housing. Not convinced that that won't. Yep, I was right. Okay, it's only going to let me extend to that far on that one. Let's get these stretched out, get these units even. Oops. No, stretch. Stretch, homie. Or did you just glitch and decide you're not going to? You just decided you're not going to anymore. Okay, that was my bad. Okay, so light residential right there. Well, we roughly have an idea of how much space we need. How much space we can take advantage of, I should say. 90 to 90. Stretch across. Glitch it. Glitch it good. Low density, low density, low density. Hey, we just unlocked a signature building. The Rockstar Musician Mansion. And I'll show you guys what that looks like in just a second. Right back here, we're going to put in some low density business. I kind of think I'm going to use the Japanese style just for sheer looks. This building is saying it doesn't have hasn't have connections for some reason. It looks like it's going to be really anal about it. We're going to come over. Going to get our... Okay, large playground is too large. Dog park is going to eat up too much space. Small park. Where's our small playground? Small playground. It only eats up 2 squares instead of 3. 2 squares instead of 3. 2 squares instead of... I just want a 3x3 park, guys. Come on. Help me out. Alright, not going to be so lucky. Okay, well, small park right there. What is that? Small playground. Which is great for a bunch of light residential. And hey, it gives us room for a path. We can bring in right here. Walk in. Why did you do that? That path did nothing to you. Literally, it did nothing to you. What the hell? Okay. We'll go ahead and leave that as it is. Let that connect. Fill in the last bit of our commercial right over here. Fill in... Oh, wait. Those aren't maximizing their square usage. Delete them both. See, there we go. That's a little bit better. Okay, make this a nice little busy intersection. And... I'm going to stick in just like a small handful of offices right here and fill in this with like commercial. But they're going to be facing the wrong way. Let's keep that from happening. We just use our basic fill-in tool. Delete. Fill-in tool. Delete. There we go. Okay. Let's see what develops up through here. Now we've got a very nice light residential neighborhood situated over here next to our high school. We've got our high school developed. We're looking good, and our income has gone back up to $5,500 an hour. Hey, not bad. Let's save our progress. Okay, we even better, still have plenty of demand, and we're about a quarter of the way through level 7. Level 9 is where we start getting some good stuff, like high density business. And 10 is when we start getting high density offices. And finally, 8 is when we get high density housing. These are going to be our big buildings for a lot of things. Industrial doesn't actually change. We don't get light industrial or heavy. We just get industrial. Taking a look at over here at our power plant, it is progressing nicely with about 246 tons of garbage and processing speed of 825 a month. So far, so good. This is emptying, but not fast enough for... Why aren't you emptying? Empty to that plant. What the hell? Dump your stuff. I don't know what that's doing. I don't think it knows what it's doing. Let's pop over to city policies now. And we still have import city fees off. Good. But we're going to turn on advanced pollution management because now not only can we reduce pollution, but we can put it to work in our incineration plants. And with only 9 vehicles out of 50 in use, those generating more pollution is not going to negatively affect us. So overall, we get a net positive from this situation. Okay, speaking of net positives, we still have some more neighborhoods to develop. And you can see all these pop in right here. And the reason why I went with these, the Japanese style, is because I just like these flat roofs. I think this looks very much like stores I would see if I walked out of my house. Well, not in this snowstorm, but conceptually, if I could leave my house. And I think that's just the way that we're going to roll. Okay, but look, plenty more space to develop. Let's get to it. Oh, and that new building we unlocked. This is the Rock Musician Mansion. A famous rock star lives here when not on tour. Only problem is, I don't have a good place for it. A rock star is not going to move in right next to a high school. That feels like a good way for something terrible to happen. Just it does. They're also not going to live up here in a major industrial district. And buy a bunch of farms, I don't see it happening. I see a rock star living over here at the cusp of a river, looking down, at the bay. Or, I don't know, somewhere more in the middle, or at the very least in a more affluent neighborhood. And while there's nothing wrong with this neighborhood by any stretch of the imagination, it just doesn't feel like, to me, it would necessarily be the biggest or best fit for it. So we're going to sit on that one for a while, as cool as it would be to have. And we got that because we zoned enough low density housing buildings. All right. The next one would be the film actor mansion, it looks like, at 10,000 cells of low density, and then the painter mansion at 25,000. As for bonuses, all this would do is just give us a +2 to well-being within 500 meters. Now, weirdly, I've gotten... Okay, can ignore those messages. Okay, all right. We do have a couple of other things like the UK Executive Mansion, which is going to do the same exact thing as Rockstar, but right next to a high school, not seeing it. And same thing with the Acuin de la. Oh, I'm not even going to try it. I'm not going to pronounce that because I will get canceled. All right, but this is a French style building and it's not going to fit next to all these North American style homes. We do have that, this mixed commercial residential building. We're not going to, you can see the kind of footprint it is, and the Café de Paris, which is really not going to fit. In terms of commercial buildings, hotels, I don't think we want a hotel next to a high school. That feels weird. A pub, yeah, same thing. UK petrol station, though, that actually would make some sense because we are near places where you would expect people stopping in from gas, right off of a highway, uh, and over near some commercial stuff. It's going to make sense. We're just not going to use it right now. And having that be a small petrol station is completely fine. Like a neighborhood gas station would make 100% total sense right over here. In fact, you know what? It would make so much sense that we're going to develop some stuff around it. We're just going to go ahead and set it down first. Um, but it would be insane to me to see a gas station located off of a two-lane street. That wouldn't make a lot of sense. You'd want it on a high traffic area. As a business, I would want it. I would demand it on a high traffic area. So, high traffic area right through here. We've got Lake Street. We've got Bedford Street, which is 4-lane. And since it's coming near the medical clinic, kind of feels like it would be pretty appropriate to stuff it over here on the corner. Near the clinic, near some of these businesses. We're looking at a 500-meter radius. It's not going to impact our farms up there. So we'll sneak this in over here, right there. Right now, not going to do a whole lot for us. It just gave us some experience, and it reminded me that it existed. But since it was free, cool, we'll take it. It also increased the general happiness for the area. As you can see now, though, we're doing much better. Reliable mail service, abundance of entertainment, walking distance, general wealth. Wealth is always good for your citizens. They like to make money. When they make money, your buildings level up, you start making money. Service upgrades, we've upgraded some of our services. Amount of leisure time is still good. and reliable internet service is okay. They're still complaining about small homes, and we've already addressed that. Saving, because I hit the wrong button. Resuming. We're still having... Oh, that's a traffic wreck, not a traffic pileup. Best of luck to you. Okay, back over here to development. Right here, main road, fill it in with mixed. Oh, and we just unlocked another signature building by filling in these tiles with mixed. Okay, books to nourish the mind and soul with luxury apartments on top. Bottom floor bookstore stocks everything from the ordinary to the esoteric. I would live there myself. Would it fit next to a high school? No, but it will fit next to a holy crap! What did we do? We apparently lagged very hard and filled in all that, which was not intentional. Wow. Okay. All right, and then back to low density housing for the rest of this block. And the usual tricks. This passageway, like we've seen previously, is not wide enough to make any additional buildings. So we'll do the same thing that we've been doing. We'll carefully navigate a path right down. We're good. Go into our parks. Canopy covered. Put it on both sides. Delete that. Fill that in, set the park, get our walking path, get it as close to our building as we can without overlapping. It's not quite at a 90, we'll live. And same thing over here. And now people will be able to just walk through the back of this neighborhood and fill in. That actually fills up our light residential demand for right now. It takes all that out. We do have some commercials slowly popping back in. We do have some office demand. We've still got some industry demand to go to. I'm wondering what our workplace field looks like right now. Not that good. We've only got 70 unfilled positions, which is kind of good because it shows everything's full of employment, working in the most efficiency, etc., etc. But it's less good because it will impact the amount of people that want to move into our city. Although at this stage of the game, it shouldn't, in theory, be a huge worry. In theory. Shouldn't. Air quotes. We'll see. Okay, where do we want to put some office buildings? First, I want to check to see if they zoned in over here. They did. There was something that I had done over here that I didn't like, and I can't remember what it was. Oh, right, this. Well, P&G Media is going to live right there. That's going to be fine. We'll slip in one of those well, we will slip in absolutely nothing. We will come over here to vegetation, and I'm just going to run some wild green bushes right up the side of that. Same thing with right over here. We'll stick some bushes right beside the medical clinic. Get them to go as close to that park as we can. And over there too. I think we're good. Okay. But because we do have small office demand, the only offices we have are small, let's fill that space in. And we'll fill in this space. We'll fill in this space with light commercial. And that very little bit, we're going to come over to a couple of square pocket parks, 1 and 2, fill them in right there to take advantage of that last little bit of space because I hate wasting space. Then over here, we'll take some wildflower bushes, drag them down the side. So whatever moves in there is going to have some nice little privacy fence. Okay, all's good so far. I think I like the looks of that. That'll give us a slight increase in jobs. What I'm worried about next is our education levels, because I had a feeling that our elementary school was going to be too full. If I'd thought ahead, I would have put it right over here and had an educational complex right next to this high school. I didn't think that far ahead. So likely we'll be sneaking in an elementary school over here, probably next to this gas station. Yeah. Okay. All right. We'll just leave it as a yeah. All right. What we haven't done though is pay down our loan any. We're currently making 10,000 an hour. We're not at full speed as we should be. And unfortunately, I hate to tell you guys this, what we need to do now is wait. So we have a couple of options with how we can spend our time. I can go AFK and do the other things that I have to do today. In fact, I should probably end this stream sooner rather than later. Or I can leave this running and we can sit in here and do some deco. We'll mix this up a little bit because my next goal is to get us to 50,000 and show you guys how to pay off a loan. Slowly. Eventually. So, you want to check over here. Was there anything we wanted to decorate? No, we made the best possible use of our space with this parking lot, with these trees, with these houses, with this commercial district. Now, these white roofs do stick out a little bit, but it's pretty normal for a commercial building if you ask me. We have these mixed use that are facing the highway. They're not going to like that much. Residential shouldn't be super close to highways because highways do create noise. And about the only solution we have to that is we're going to drag some concrete barriers down just to cut down on the total noise. Now, I don't know about you guys, but in real life, concrete barriers scare the crap out of me. They make me feel claustrophobic and like I'm about to wreck my car. So I don't use them very often. Game engine can just deal with it. But because of where this highway is close to that residential district and the high school, we're just going to cover that up a little bit. Just out of an abundance of being a decent mayor with fake money, which actually sounds a lot like my hometown. It's going to kill me if my new mayor ever pops on my stream, though. Okay. Be like, sir? No. I'm a constituent, and I'm going to leave it at that. All right. So this concrete barrier will help a little bit. Let's go ahead and expand it, though, all the way down. Just drag it. We can't stick it right there because of that overlap with the train tracks. We can kinda stick it on this. Again, we're overlapping with that roundabout. Okay, and because we closed off that end, it's just going to let me do weird stuff with the dragging. And I'll take weird stuff. This does cost us a little bit of money, but everything we do, with the exception of moving dirt, costs us cash. Don't ask me why moving dirt doesn't cost us money. It just doesn't. I want to keep those intersections as clear as we can for line of sight purposes. Okay, same thing right there. That's a safety hazard in real life. We don't want to do that. Can put a barrier there. Not letting me put a barrier on that side because it's weird. Okay, so the concrete barrier is installed. Make it a little less noisy. You know what? Go ahead and install a little bit of a barrier up here too. Fire and crash. Oof, somebody's having a bad day. Well, police is there. Fire department's there. One thing we haven't built yet that we probably should have by now is the road maintenance department. This will increase the traffic flow on the roads. It'll also help clean up road accidents a little bit. It does cost $75,000. We really need to spend that money elsewhere, though. So one step at a time. All right, and the place we need to spend that money. You know what? We're almost at 100,000. I'll wait. I did summon all the wee woos, and hey, Rio, you got here just as I was wrapping up. But that's okay because I always love your company. Always. And hey, just to show you what we've done, we have built a residential section over here. We've got a nice neighborhood. We finally got our sports field in. And on top of that, we started solving our garbage problem. First with the landfill that I don't like, that we're currently emptying out. Oh, and look, they're finally emptying it out. And then we also added a incineration plant, which is generating electricity for us, cutting down on some of our city costs, and ultimately going to make our city a little bit better. Unfortunately, it is creating air pollution, and that's going to be a problem for us in the near future. So you can see how this is spreading. Well, not near future, but distant future. So it's not here forever. Later in the city, it'll get moved on. Okay. So what are we doing for cash? Up to 16,000 an hour now that people have moved in. That's wonderful news. Okay. So what I'm going to do is save, because this game has developed a few crash bugs as of late. Resume, and now I'm going to do the thing that I wish I could do in real life. We're going to come over here to our loan panel, and right now our total loan amount's $1 million. We're losing $101,000 a month on it. We've got an interest rate of 10%. You do note that it has been slowly decreasing in terms of monthly interest. I'm not sure why, and yeah. So here's all we're going to do. We take the slider, we slid it to the right to take out money. We're just going to slide it to the left, dropping our interest rate down by 8% or 0.8%, and decrease our monthly cost by 16,000. We accept. Right now, we're earning 1672-ish, 16,600. I'm going to accept, decrease our loan amount, decrease our monthly interest expenditure, and we wait for that to increase. Okay, over here, facing the farms, we do the same thing we've been doing. Medium density residential. Fill it in. These look like they're all facing the right way based off of those square layouts. Down here on the drag, fill in with mixed use. But not, we're going to wait just a second. We are waiting just a second. We'll install a different type of park over here. We've been using these small little canopy covered corridor parks. They're pretty cool, but I actually like the passage parks better. They're bigger, they expand more. Downside is it's not going to give us a lot of extra between block room, but you know what? That's completely okay. But they do cost about 16K each, so it's going to cost us 32. Yeah, screw it. Make sure they're about as lined up as we can get them. 16,800, come on, money, come on, money. Okay. Still about 17,000, that's good. Can we get our park pathway? Try to get it to mesh up. Turn off snapping. With these passage parks, you can get them to connect. They're just a little finicky. Sometimes you have to drag them all the way into the park itself. And sometimes you just sort of... Right there. Right there. There's our connection point. Super finicky. Another blessed tornado. But it's all the way up there. Like our... What? Is that our second or third tornado of this session? I can't remember. Okay. We'll also, just for looks, let's put snapping back on. And you see, this is why I put in this juncture right here, because as people are coming in, hey, look, they're filling up this roadway. And otherwise, they would have been completely packing up this and ruining our upper town. Like, it's realistic-ish. But at the same time, it's really not, because you're not going to have like 10,000 people moving into your city all at once. If you do, real world, your city is going to collapse under the strain, almost certainly. But this isn't the real world. We are living in a simulation. And we make the most of it. Okay. We're going to put in a bunch of decorations right over there. But since we are facing a road, a bigger road, we do 4-lane stuff. Right here, we're going to put in some offices. And now we wait. We are what? What are we? What did I say? Because I forgot what I said. Oh, living in a simulation? That is too metaphysical for me to feel comfortable answering that. Okay. Let's put some... well, I hadn't planned on it, but let's put some trees down on this road. Some nice big oak trees by all of these apartment complexes. Be held in their foundations, but I don't have to pay for it. Why did that put baby trees there? I don't know. Huh. Or it seems to think that tall trees won't fit. Huh. I don't know. Game doing game things. Where were those oaks? Drag that oak line all the way down to there. Okay. I think we're good. Now, up here in this area, let's take a good solid look, because paying off our loan is the next thing we have to do. We're not going to be able to do much more than anything else. Yeah, the Cybertruck does look like a garbage 16-bit skin, but we're gonna leave that at that. Turning on shadows makes it hard to see back here, but that's okay. All right, let's go over here to our surfaces tool. Let's pick out a decent tile. Let's get it right down center toward these roads. It looks like that could go over a little further. Now, the downside to what I'm putting in over here is that it's not going to be used by our citizens. These small pedestrian paths cannot be zoned, you cannot put parks on, service vehicles cannot get them. Yeah, like we're not buried under, you know, a foot of snow everywhere across the Mid-Ohio Valley or anything. Why would they assume you could come into work? Yeah, just The people you work for. The people you work for. Like, my lazy ass needs to be doing work right now. It really does. And I'm going to have to log off here soon. But the work I have to do, I don't want to do. But at least I can do my work from home. Not just come in, they want you to drive. Oh, good. They want you to do transport all day tomorrow. So that's awesome. 4 hours one-way transport for you. How lucky can you possibly get? I mean, you're friends with me, so not that lucky. Okay. Well, right. Well, I struggle with their idiocy. I'm going to look at some of these hedges because while I really don't like the way they've done the walls, at least we can make the hedges look okay. Which of these hedges has the best imitation? Okay, we'll just stretch out our hedges to 8 meters, I think. Nope. 6 is enough, apparently. And really, the whole purpose behind this is just to let our city grow and let our income increase. As you can see, we're already back over 100,000. So as soon as I get done playing with plants, and again, this will have no impact on our city. It's not going to improve our city's usability. It's not going to improve the way that our citizens use it. They're not going to come through here. This is purely for looks. Now, I'm grateful for the detailing tool. Don't take that the wrong way. I just wish there was some way to have functional, customizable parks. In Cities Skylines 1, they did release a DLC that did just that. So you could fill a park with things like this, and your citizens would actually use it. It's something that I hope that we eventually get into. It was such an amazing feature in 1. For right now, we're just going to settle with some basic detailing. Well, slightly advanced detailing. Very slightly advanced detailing. No, don't ditch your van, because then I'll have to come up and get you. And while I'm actually okay with that, I'm sure it, with our luck, you'd end up getting badly injured. And I've done that enough for us this year. Okay, can we do anything over here with stone? Stone columns, stone pillars. Ugh, that looks terrible. All right. We can fill in this with some vegetation, I think. So we'll do cultivated green bushes to kind of grind this over. I was terrible at lining those hedges up. Probably would have been better if I just used singles instead of trying to do the line tool. Okay. Come over here for... Okay, well, just because you're not planning on stopping for your face doesn't mean that you won't end up stopping for your face. It's part of the reason why I'm not using the webcam today, because my face hurts from where I fell on my face last month. Oh, my head is still killing me from where I fell on my face last month. And, of course, that means I can't find what I'm looking for. Okay, here we go. Put a small stage back here. On that one. No, we need single, not line tool. Let's unselect the line tool. Okay, got a small stage. We'll put in a small little food cart at one of these intersections. Put in another food cart right behind it. Because competition, yeah. I'm going to stick in a fountain. Oh, let's see. What is that? That is a tree? That's a standard classical fountain. I don't know why there's a bow on top of this one, but this looks really cool. Go ahead and stick that back there. And then a kiosk over here. I got that facing the right way? I got that facing into a building. Nope, I didn't put that the right direction. We'll delete it. Come back over here. Get that to face the right way. There we go. And sports park benches are not what I want. Do we have any long benches? Add a pole. What kind of pole would you like me to add? Because I was thinking something like some basic tables right through here. And by this stage, we'll look for hey, Azuri. Welcome over. Oh, no, I'm not adding a pole to the stage. Not what I thought you meant. Holy crap, how come I'm the one who doesn't have his mind in the gutter? We will stick a gas heater over here, though, but not that one. We'll use that one. Won't do a blessed thing, but hey, it's there. Okay, we'll put in some different types of tables up over here. Just to decorate this, go ahead and put in a couple of extra gas heaters. I'm trying to see if we have any lights, and I don't see a blessed one, which is kind of annoying. Okay, but we do need some chairs, so let's find those. And yeah, that's what I'm trying to see. I don't see any lights available in the props, which is really freaking lame. I would assume that you would have some, but we've got decals, we've got debris, we've got sort of commercial props like vending machines. We've got all kinds of industrial props, but not a single light prop. Weird, lame, and weird. So please note, I am not trying to create an area that is going to be featured in an episode of Special Victims Unit. It's just the way that the game is laid out. Those are garden benches. Do want a couple of trash bins, especially over here by these. And one by this kiosk. And one over here at this corner. Okay, 2 corners. Those are campground benches. Which aren't really going to fit. We don't want... Nope, not sport park benches either. Well, we're just going to have to make do with some garden benches. Right over here for the stage. Try not to make it look like we're installing pews. Okay, that is a reasonably decorated park, I think. I don't know. I don't know what a reasonably decorated park would look like. Okay, we don't need any more fountains. Definitely don't need any tents. We've kind of filled the area with kiosks well enough, I think. That's that red one. The lightning bolt icon handles our power services. And we don't have any power coming back here, really. Nothing that we can set over here would generate power. None of our road services tools would. See, this would put lighting on a road, but these aren't technically classified as roads. These are, but they already have lighting. This is only good for highways. I got nothing. I am sorry. I wish I did, but I have absolutely nothing. Then one last thing, what I can put in, however, is we're just going to take some wildflower bushes and I'm going to scatter them using our just generic tool mode, decrease our brush size down to about 20%, drag and drop flower bushes right across this area. I'm also going to do the same thing with small rocks. Because that's fairly random, it's borderline realistic. And there we go. And then when the sun comes out, we should have a very nice, reasonably decorated back park area for all of these wonderful people moving into these mixed-use commercial buildings. But no, I wish I could put some lights back here, but I can't. I literally have no functionality to do that. The good news is, as much time as I wasted doing that, our demand has returned and our money has drastically increased. We're almost up to 300,000. We'll let that cap out in a second. We'll come over here to this side, lay out our mixed housing again, keeping it facing the road like we have been. Our low density housing over here, again, keeping it facing the road. Let some people move in, put in a small office complex right here, take advantage of that empty space. Same thing with right there. All right, that takes care of our demand. We'll come over to our loans, city economy. Intentionally, I should be trying to pay this off about every 100,000 just to lower this as quickly as I can, but I didn't. So we've got, what, 300,010 in the bank. Let's go ahead and knock that down. That'll decrease our monthly cost by half, which is a good thing. And boom, look at this. Look at how fast our income has changed now. We're up to 28,000 as we've had people move in. I meant to log off about an hour ago, guys, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick around. We're going to keep playing until we hit level 8. I think that's going to be a fair place, because if I don't get to work writing my next book, it's not going to get published. In the meantime, if you'd like to order my next book, Ryoko's got the link for you, or my current book. If you enjoy urban fantasy, cyberpunk material, you can find it where she's going to be linking it. Okay, still facing this. We're not going to use the mixed commercial. We're going to use just basic medium density residential right across and through here. And same thing down here. Fill in this space. What we do need to invest in is going to be another school, though. And we can do this one of two ways. Likely, I think, is that instead of paying down the loan for the next purchase, we're just going to buy a school. And again, we'll likely aim for the city elementary school because it can fit in about 2,000 students. And our first school has 2,000 students at max. We've got an additional 3,000. We've got a total eligibility of 3,000 students available for elementary. And we do want to make sure that our people, at the very least, get a kindergarten education. So it'll help our city out in the long run. We do need to do something about college, and Surprisingly, our high school's actually filled up. More than filled up. Can't do a lot about that though. I can only afford one of the two. And right over here is going to be a great place for a new um, school building. So let's take a look and see how much space we need for that, because I think I'm going to have to delete some zoning. So just City High School, Modern High School. Where is it? City Elementary. Okay. Um, yeah, I'm going to de-zone everything right there before it fills in. Sorry. Sorry, office building. I'm a terrible human. I trust you. What can I say? Okay. So my citizens shouldn't trust me, but I trust Ryoko to have those links handy. Thank you, Ryoko. Okay, let's take a look at this space right here. This space is unuseful. Like, it feels like something really needs to come in over here, but I don't know what. At the very least, I'm going to do something I'm going to regret, because doing things I regret is sort of the name of my game. And I'm going to try to see, will that connect to this roundabout? No. If we connect it right over here, though, it's really going to screw up the whole layout. We're going to add an extra intersection, which is going to make the traffic flow garbage. Same token, we don't really want to just link it right over there. That would look super freaking weird. Okay, we can follow this road down over, and now we can take a look. What gives us a 45-degree angle right here? 48, 50, 40. 45 puts us right there. It's still a little wonky, but it's wonky at a point we can deal with. And again, traffic issues because we have a ton of people moving into all these new buildings. We just have to wait this out. There's nothing we can do about it. But hey, we're almost at level 8. That all this new additional residential made a huge difference. So we're also gaining 30,000 an hour. So we have gone up from the 7,000 an hour we were making at the start of this to 30,000. And it's all thanks to adding brand new neighborhoods and solving our trash problem up here with our incineration plant. Good news. We can actually increase our amount of money because look at this. Our landfill is finally empty. So what are we going to do about that? Simple. We're going to take the delete key, bulldoze it. It's gone. Ground pollution lessened. Those industrial buildings are happier. We'll get rid of this now unnecessary pedestrian path that we were using as a retaining wall just to keep the street view looking better. And we're good. Downside, now that we've used up all the garbage in our garbage disposal unit, well, this doesn't have as much stored garbage. It's not going to be producing as much electricity, and it may actually end up emptying out, depending on how fast it works. Can we do anything about that? Yep, not a thing. So, it is what it is. We live with it. Why is people unhappy? Yeah, who knows? Who knows why that's decreasing? Okay. It might be viable to put in a roundabout right here, but if I do, it's going to trash this building, and it's not going to leave us with enough room for our school that we plan to put down. So we'll just leave that as it is. There's the money for our school. We're good. City Elementary School. Fit in right perfectly there. And then as soon as we get an extra 15,000, we'll put in this courtyard playground. I'm just going to sit here and wait for that. 15, 11, 12. course, that will decrease our total income, but destroying the garbage dump, I think it'll honestly even us just about out. Okay, there we go. Okay, well-being increased for the area. I'm not going to put anything in right here. We're going to do our best to remember. We are going to do our best to remember that this is right here, this empty space, because we'll want to use it in the future. Yeah, hydrating, probably not a bad idea. Okay, so what can we do about this empty space we just put in? Well, these are all walkable roads, so let's stretch at least one of them out. Walking path down here. That's too close to that roundabout for me to be comfortable, but on the same hand, we will just eliminate a couple of these crosswalks. And now if somebody wants to cross here, they can only cross on this side, or if they walk over here and cross up, and we're good with that. We'll also take our pathway tool, cut a straight path right through that. Line it up straight, and that gives us an opportunity to delete that pedestrian crosswalk. So now, in theory, somebody could walk from this neighborhood, maybe Leafy Greens, and walk down this path, walk down over here, walk down through what's going to be another residential, come over here, walk through Park 1, walk through the fake park we just made, walk through Park number 2, and be all the way on practically the other side of town without having to do more than cross 1, 2 busy streets. Perfect. Hey, as long as you're the resident, I'm good. But no, I don't mind you reminding me to take care of myself, because good Lord knows I need the reminders. Like, I should not be left to my own devices. Ever. Okay. Looking at the way that these squares have appeared for potential zoning, instead of using a road walkway, we'll use our pedestrian paths again, just to try to minimize our loss of zonable space. Like right there. That shouldn't have eaten up that much space. It did, because this game is this game. And as a result, we're just going to delete that and put in our pedestrian crossing right there. But we actually do want a pedestrian crossing right here, so I'm going to make sure it connects to the road. Okay. Here we go. Hey, big town, level 8, 200,000 in the bank. We've unlocked UK City Apartments because we now have unlocked high-density residential. Yay! That's not a sarcastic yay. That is a yay! I frequently am left to my own devices. Believe me when I say it's something I am desperately trying to change in my life. If I didn't have a headache, I would be actively trying to change it right now. Okay. Couple of things. As usual, first, we're saving. You may have noticed as we unlock these development points, we don't necessarily spend them, build what we're spending them on right away anyways. It's just the way the game goes. Sometimes you're in desperate need of them, sometimes you're not. Okay. All right, water treatment plant. Do want it, not right this moment. Let's unlock our geothermal. Well, let's take a look. So we've got 9 points. We can unlock that at 2. We don't need to unlock anything under roads. We don't yet need to unlock the hospital, although that's going to be soon-ish, so keep that in mind. We've got our incinerator plants, so the recycling center, not as useful right now. We do have colleges unlocked. We don't have university. We don't have enough money for them. All right, fire is not a bad idea for a fire station. The welfare office would probably be a good thing too. Let's consider that since it's only 1 point. Tram, water, subway, air, still we don't need them yet. And we are down to tourist attractions. We don't need tourist attractions until we get air or water. We don't have either. We're good. So we can ignore that massive 8-point expenditure. What we can invest in, though, I'm thinking the welfare office at 1 point, university at 2, so that'll put us down to 6 points. Wow, brain froze. And our geothermal. So let's unlock 1, 2, unlock our welfare office. Leaves us with 4 points. We can go ahead and get our city hall as well. That's an option, or we can upgrade our fire pretty significantly with a fire station. We can't afford one, but it would be nice to have as an option. We also can't afford water. Well, water is one of those things that on paper it should work really good, but we're too landlocked right now to make a difference. A harbor up here is not going to have enough room to take advantage of this. So that's out of the equation. Let me consider my immediate options right here. I think at the moment we're just going to leave those 4 points undeveloped and we'll see what we need. Okay, but looking at this, we've got this hole right here. We've got 300,000 in the bank, which is almost half of our loan. Let's go ahead, get rid of it while I think. And we've almost got that paid off, which is good because we did unlock our geothermal power plant over here, and it's only 750, and this will start making us some money. I think it should. Now, the upkeep cost on it's pretty freaking heavy, so we're going to have to cross our fingers when we build that. But let's take a look at right here. Did we get anything new unlocked? Yes, we did unlock high density North America high density housing, but these are going to be very big buildings. These are not going to be suitable for mid residential complex. They're really just not. What would be great over here would be some high density commercial filling in these blocks, but not unlocked yet. Obviously, no industrial and office buildings, again, not till level 10. If we didn't have a sports park right up here, I would put in a sports park. So what are my choices really? Well, I think my choice right now is to do absolutely nothing and leave it alone. Because I feel like saying this. If you're a pro wrestling fan, you'll understand. New Day sucks. New Day sucks. No, truthfully, we're going to ignore this right now. As much as it kills me to leave such a wonderful developmental space open. Right here, this whole line would be great for offices and commercial, feeding the needs of these families. And down here would be great for some strictly commercial buildings, some heavy duty commercial coming in off the highway, coming in away from the high school, coming in away from these farms. Would all be great for that. And over here, we've got another complex idea that's going to be developed once we get our power station down. That leaves over here, and I did promise you guys that we'd be putting in high density residential up along this area. And I intend to uphold my promises to you. Why? Because I love you. Why? Because you're here. Because you're mine. All right. Now that I've gotten the creepy part of the segment out of the way, I did say I would have to log at level 8, but I am so tempted. I am so tempted to solve our power problem. So let's take another look at it. Make sure that I'm picking this right, because this is going to be expensive. It's another loan. Weirdly not as expensive as the incinerator plant. Go fig. Okay. We don't want water pollution, but it's going to tell us where groundwater is. And we have, you know what else will tell us where groundwater is? Actually selecting the plant. Okay. So if we drag this over here to where there's no water, of course I'm a damn creeper on here. It's Twitch. Come on. I'm a middle-aged, balding white guy. Pretty much, like, being unintentionally creepy is part of my personality. Okay. That said, focusing now on the geothermal power plant. If we drop it over here where there's no blue on the ground, it's going to tell us there's no groundwater. And no groundwater means no plant. We stick it over here, it will tell us that. If we go to the edge of that, again, no groundwater. Now, the question is, we need to make sure that it's absolutely getting the most groundwater possible to make the most of its electricity production, because we only want to place one of these. Realistically, a great spot for it would be, no question, right up here. Could we? Yeah, actually we could. We can buy this square and just drag a road up to it from the highway right there. And that would actually be just about perfect. Same token, we could buy, well, this is, of course, on 4 squares, because that makes sense. If we drop it right up here, we'd have to get 1, 2, at least 3 squares out of the way. We're not sticking it over here on our new residential. I am fairly confident that sticking it here would be okay. But fairly confident is not the same thing as completely confident. I think we would be better off dropping it right over here on this tile section where there is heavy duty water. If and only if I can turn it. Can I turn it? Can I turn it and have it fit in one tile? Of course I can't. I can turn it, I just can't get it to fit in one tile right there without moving all that. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to save, because there is no metric in this game to tell me exactly how much power it's going to produce at any of those locations. So what's my best bet? Saving the game, turning on pollution so I can see my resources. Of course, putting it here means we have to buy 2 tiles, this tile and a connector tile. One of these tiles has to be purchased. This tile. Of course, we don't have enough money yet, because of course we don't. And what's affecting the money here is the amount of buildable area, the amount of groundwater. Oh, hey, that's going to tell me how much groundwater there is. That's good to know. The amount of wood. We've got 3,000 tons worth of wood here. Apparently, we've got a little bit of ore, oil, and fertile land as well. And that's jacking up the price for these 2 tiles. Specifically, this tile. Because this tile alone is only worth half that. So we got groundwater of almost 1 million cubic meters, 800. If we get that, well, let's deselect that. Okay, that's actually a little bit less. That's a lot less. That's a lot less. That's a lot more, but that would be 1, 2, 3 tiles minimum. 4 tiles minimum. So that's out. That's half of our lower, and those are out. So really, this is our best tile. So let's save again. Me, I'm the creeper. I'm always the creeper. It's part of my personality. I just have to live with it. All right. Let me look here. So we do have, of course, 2 options. We can go ahead and pay this loan off, and we're making enough an hour that we can comfortably just do that. Just pay it off and wait and develop more stuff, but I'm in a hurry. This has been bugging me since we started this city, because in my other cities, I built this way before now. Just to take advantage of all the goodness that this is going to give us. So let's snap up these 2 tiles. 1, 2. 173,000. There it goes. Down the drain. Literally. Okay. Let's go ahead and bring down our road from this. we don't need a long road, but because we're going to have some stuff branching off of this later, I just know it. Let's go ahead and invest in our 6-lane, drag it down, get us at a... Is it not going to tell me what my angle is? 140, 43, 44, 40... Well, I don't really have anything to... Oh, wait, I do have something to base it off of. 6-lane right here. I'm just trying to keep this even with the rest of my grid, and sometimes that takes some weird working around. So, forgive me. $90. Like, these roads are not where they're going to stay. I promise. Okay. I just want to make sure... Because later, when we develop this way, this road is going to go all the blessed way up here. It's going to connect. It's going to cross over, all that. And I just want it to be at a 90-degree angle right here. So let's get that in. 89. Come on, give me that magical 90. 91. No. Don't do this to me. There we go. 90. We're set. Delete that extra. Don't need it. Okay. Again, this is terrible. This will be addressed in the future. Starting with, like, right here. We'll go ahead, stretch this down to 90. And because that doesn't line up for anything, delete. That somehow looks even worse. Don't ask me why. Still got it at 90. Lined up perfectly. Installed. Done. Three-way road right there. Go over. Get rid of the pedestrian crossings so these guys don't have to wait at a stoplight. And put in a stop sign. Done. Okay, fixed. That's resolved. That's a lot of quick detailing for nothing that's going to ultimately matter. Okay, well, to the game anyways, to the functionality of the game. Just my eyes. All right, here we go. 750,000 is going to have to be set right there. Obviously, we don't have enough money. Back to the loan screen. Loans. Okay, so we're currently at 300,000. We need to take... We only need 750 technically, but I'm going to take all the way up to 8 because we're going to have to buy a new transformer station. So, back into debt we go. And done. Okay. Power plant. Good. Electricity production, 150 megawatts. We are perfect right here. That is the maximum that this plant can generate. So let's get this as close to this side of the road as possible so that we can have plenty of room to expand into that area if necessary. Done. We now have a power plant. But wait, there's more. This power plant is going to require a connection to the main grid. Right here you see it's connected with this small electric cable that runs under the roads, as they should in a civilized, developed society. I live in West Virginia, so we don't do that. But for high transmission lines, these are important for getting power outside the city, and these small lines do create bottlenecks. And that will eventually affect our city. It's a weird mechanic in the game because it doesn't do a whole lot, but every now and again it'll make you put down advanced power lines. So we're going to run this all the way up and connect it to the existing line coming out of, coming out of our incinerator plant and going towards our northern transformer. We're going to bring it up out from under the underground, because I forgot I was in the underground for that. So instead of having a reasonable power line coming through there, we don't. So that connects up there. We're going to come down. We're going to build a transformer over here. We're going to put it up next to the highway. Run a small gravel road right off to the side, just for the sakes of looks. I think that should be enough room for it. We're going to quickly delete the stop sign that I put there And get rid of that crosswalk. Okay. Done. We're good. Transformer at 30,000. Set it right up next to the highway. Out of the way. Come down here to our main transmission line. And just for, again, the looks of it, drag that over at 90. It fits. And you know what? I'm going to pause because I really thought we were above ground. I don't know why I thought we were above ground. Kind of tells you how tired I am. We're now going to go above ground. We're going to see if it'll go over this highway interchange. Of course, it won't, so we have to go back underground anyways. Really? Really, you're not? Is there any way you will? Like, if I just kind of... No? Are we too high up? We are too high up. Okay. So we come over. We drop underground to the edge of the highway. A little further than the edge of the highway, apparently. Okay. What? Why did you suddenly stop connecting to everything? Okay. And then we're just going to put that at 90, come on down, connect. Eventually we'll have to get rid of those, but it feels like it makes sense to me. But we also don't have it. We got to finish this connection up a little bit. Okay, high transmission power lines connected, all that done. This power plant does have a few upgrades available to it. We can add an additional power line to this plant, which we kind of will need. Those high transmission power lines we just installed do have a maximum limit of how much power they can transport out of the city or around the city at any given time. We can put in an additional turbine for another 375,000 to increase our power potential up to an additional 100 megawatts a month. And then binary cycle power plants to increase our total energy production for a little bit less than the extra turbine. So we can add all those together. It's going to create a lot more power for us. Right now, our electricity production is at 165 megawatts. Let's take a look at what that's doing for our electricity trade. Of that, we're exporting 143. So for the first time in this city's history, we're no longer importing our power. And we're only using 28. Now, here's where the other good news comes in. The next thing we can do is get rid of this incineration plant and replace it with a recycling plant, because now we don't need the income from the power this is generating, which means in the long run, we don't need all the extra pollution that it's creating, because right now, this is handling that. But we need some money first. On the other hand, if you take a look, even though we've extended our loan, we're now generating $15,000 more than we were a few minutes ago. This is why I wanted to build this power plant. If we had access to all of these tiles, the very next thing that I would do is build an additional power line coming out of here and connecting. Because eventually, these lines are not going to be able to carry all of this power. Welcome back. You missed me building the power plant, but it is just a power plant. And not the power plant band from the old, what's his name? Goofy cartoons, Goofy's son, whose name I can't remember. And the power plant dance team. Yeah. And if anybody gets that, I am so proud of you for making it to the mid or the first quarter of the 2000s. Okay, so plenty of money coming in, but we did take off that huge loan. So let's go ahead and drop 200. Although, let's actually take a look really quick. Do we want to do that, or do we want to invest more money? So what is this using for our monthly expense? Monthly expense cost is hidden. Okay, $231,000 a month for that versus 80,000. Now, if you look, that doesn't include wages and everything else like that. Recycling centers do have fewer garbage trucks by a significant amount. We can increase those. It is going to have a larger footprint, though, unfortunately. The Japanese one doesn't. It's got a smaller footprint, but it doesn't have any upgrades to it. Yes, Max Powerline. Thank you. Okay. So it would be beneficial for us in the long term if we just go ahead, take out a little bit more money, and invest in this. So, well, let's do it. Let's roll. And then I have to log off, whether or not I want to. Answer is no. I don't want to, but I have to for the day. Okay, so what are we doing? We are seeing how much recycling plant will cost. 880,000. We're at 230. Go back to loans. So we need what? Another 600,000, give or take. Okay, so let's keep track of our numbers. Right now, we're at $45,000 an hour. Let's see if this makes a difference. Accepting. Bulldozing. We don't get the option to empty it for some reason, and at the same time, it's not generating any pollution when we bulldoze it. So, no, you tell me. All right, we come over. We haven't unlocked our node. It's a good thing we had some nodes left. Unlock our recycling center at 2. We may end up rebuilding that incineration plant later, but for right now, this just makes more financial sense for us in the long term. Well, in the short term. Okay. Garbage management. This building is pretty tricky because it's got a lot of things that will extend on it. So we're going to set it roughly about where our incineration plant was, and we're going to take a look and see. It's an extra 200,000 for 10 more garbage trucks, and I know that we are going to need them. So, biting the bullet. Accept. Add that. Now, the things that'll increase the footprint for this would be the storage extension, which is going to allow for a lot more garbage to be added, and then the hazardous waste collection, which is this weird square footprint that doesn't quite mesh up with the whole building. It's very, very annoying. And that'll increase the processing speed. We don't need to worry about those right now. But let's see how this is going to affect our income in just a minute. Put it up on 3. And I'm going to hydrate. Okay. All the garbage trucks that were out initially vanished with the incineration plant. These new trucks are on their way out now to fill the role that it had done. I'm going to be a little cheesy and put in a temporary temporary road connection to our highway over here. But I only want this to be one way as not to interfere with our main drop off. So let's just 2-lane, 2-way road. This is a very, very unrealistic, well, I would hope be unrealistic idea to connect to a highway like this, but it just sort of makes sense for the game mechanics wise. Okay. Now our recycling plant can send trucks onto the highway directly if they're going all the way south. Okay, so we were at 45. That actually dropped us down $10,000. Kind of sucks, doesn't it? does suck a lot. However, now that we have done this, one of the things that's going to happen is that this will start selling garbage as well. And it's going to start supplying some of our local industries and local commercial buildings with raw materials of one kind or another. So that'll also save us money in the long term. It's cut down on our total pollution. I think we're going to be pretty good. So even at the reduction of $10,000 a month, in the very long term, once we pay off our now ridiculously high loan, we're going to be better off for it. So our tile upkeep is pretty steady. We don't want to make any more tiles, but this loan interest at 275 is going to be eating us alive soon. All right, taking a look back at electricity, we're exporting a significant amount of power. This is spectacular. So, as far as garbage management goes, fees only making 12 off of it. And this, we're not going to see what the net result is of the materials being recycled. Don't ask me why. I would think that would offset some of our costs. It doesn't. It just produces raw materials. I can't do anything about that. It is what it is. But now it's working. It's producing less air pollution. And that's a good thing for us in the long term, because having that incinerator plant up there for a while produced a significant amount of air pollution, as you can see. Not to mention the ground pollution. Ground pollution can't do a whole lot about, but it is what it is. Okay. But even still, 36 is still a significant increase over what we were making earlier when I started the stream today. Oh, alrighty then. Unfortunately, I feel like that's all the time that I really should dedicate to this game today, or really any game today. I'm just going to sit back for a second, let us get up to 100,000. We're good. I'm going to pop over. Oh, let me take a look at our administration. We did unlock 2 new buildings, the welfare office, which will help people who aren't doing so well in the city do a little bit better, and the Citizen Service Center, which is the same thing as the welfare office. It just costs a bit more and it looks a lot better. Then we did unlock the welfare office, I thought. Oh, that is the welfare office. We didn't unlock City Hall. Never mind. So the Japanese Health and Welfare Office does the same exact thing as these other 2 buildings, just has a different look. That's all. It's just a look thing. So just to give you an idea of what DHHR looks like here for the first one. For the second one, it's kind of a much, let me turn this around. It's kind of a much cooler, much more modern building. And then the Japanese variant of this is this looks like a standard office building you'd expect to see in any major city, and I love it for that. Okay. Well, let me pay down our loan just a hair. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. This is a point in my game where I would leave this on and walk away. And I have to be completely honest with you. We're not going to be able to do a whole lot with our income directly impacted by that massive loan. I don't know what your personal life is like. I don't know if you were in a situation where you're able to walk away from your computer and trust that nothing's going to happen. I don't know, you got kids, you got pets, you got whatever. Or maybe you just don't like leaving your computer on when you're not actively using it. This game does reward you for walking away. It genuinely does. I can't phrase it any other way. While I walk away, we'll be gaining experience, pushing us up closer to level 9 automatically because of our citizens being happy, because of income, because of buildings leveling up. We'll earn money that I can pay down this loan so we can earn more money, so we can take out another loan in a little bit, because we will need another loan for the next project. But for a stream, it gets really boring. Like, really super boring, because basically I'm going to turn this into a screensaver for a few minutes. So when you join me the next time, Some things are going to be slightly different. I am actually walking away. I'm not going to touch this. I badly want to, but I'm going to walk away for probably about half an hour just to give us a little bit of a boost. I'm going to turn the stream off so I'm not, completely burning up my computer. But this is how the cookie gets made. So keep this in mind if you pick up this game. This is a game where you can sit down and spend hours, as we've seen so far today. And it's also a game where you get rewarded just by going AFK. Um, it's just the nature of it, I'm sorry to say. The other thing that makes a difference is that the bigger your city gets, the slower the simulation runs. You saw earlier, we were doing our day-night cycle pretty quick, and already it started to slow down a little bit. Part of that's because of the graphics that I'm running, because I am running a little higher graphics than what I do for myself, just so you guys don't have your eyes bleed. And the fact that I'm running a stream in the background, that's taking up extra CPU speed, that's taking up extra RAM, and it's taking up extra processing power that Skylines 2 would suck down. This game is a resource hog for your computer. It's the biggest resource hog I've got. And my 1080 graphics card right now ain't doing it for a lot of things. So bear with me. I will see you guys on another stream for Cities Skylines 2 in a day or two. But for today, I've got to go write some books. Thank you very much for tuning in today. I hope you had a wonderful time. I love the attention. I do love the attention. And I love having you guys around. Playing this game is one of the things that brings me a lot of joy in my life, and being able to show you how to build your own city really makes me smile too. So, thank you again. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you soon.